their doorway into the spirit world is dreaming, dream time. What dream time is, and I've tried this, you're watching yourself fall asleep. You have your normal thoughts, you have your what you have to do tomorrow, all that, and then the flow of consciousness takes over. You're no longer watching the thoughts that's in your head. You're getting visions of other places, other things, people you've never met. I mean, you're not reacting. You're just observing the flow of dream time and realize that my awareness is someplace else. For me, being the observer, the watcher, is definitely the first step.
Welcome back, my friend. You
Thank you.
are an icon in the consciousness community.
Yeah.
It's an honor to have you.
Thanks.
As always. And, we started to talk a little bit about the fact that every single year we're going through the motions. Now we're having, disclosure hearings, massive media cycles around them, but there's still no meaningful disclosure, and we see a lot of media coming out of Hollywood and on TV, and we know they're revving up for something. And my question that I had for you was, like, at this point, does disclosure look like a process meant to actually inform the public, or one to just continue to control the narrative that's not going to truly change anything? How do we manage our expectations?
I know that's actually the question everyone is asking. They call it disclosure fatigue, because are we just chasing our own tail? I think we are getting closer to the goalposts, but the goalposts keep moving. So there does seem to be some movement in the age of disclosure. The Spielberg movie coming out.
Yes.
Whatever that does, whatever kind of movie it is, it's definitely going to tell people there's more to reality than we've been told. So, I mean, the film is going to inform people. That most people don't even know what that word disclosure means. I mean, I know my family doesn't. I have no idea. I mean, there's a small little group of fanatics like us, like me, like obsessed with the subject, and we've been talking about it for 10, 20 years.
God, yeah.
But it's not simple. I think there are many forces at play. The main force that no one really takes into account because it's so unpredictable is the phenomena itself. Forget the government, forget everything else involved. There's a presence here. That's obvious. There is something here. What is here? Well, I think the government really doesn't know what's here. I don't think no one really knows what's here. Terence McKenna had a great line. He said, whatever's here is disguising itself as a UFO phenomena, but it's probably something else. So what we can identify our own personal and collective mythologies is a UFO, with a flying saucer, a spaceship from another planet or dimension. But maybe, and I believe it, it's something we really can't understand at our very primitive level of consciousness. It's like people have near-death experiences. They go to some place, I believe them, it's real, and yet where is that place? What is that place? I mean, there's mediums that talk to the other side. It has something to do with this multi-dimensional awareness, and I think, my favorite line of all in all this work that I've been researching for 30 years is from John Mack. He says UFOs are like an outreach program from the cosmos for the consciously impaired. That's us, the consciously impaired.
Yes.
We don't know how to use our consciousness. We don't know what it can do. We just think it's awareness, but it's not just awareness. It's an app. It's an application. We don't have all the awareness of what this app can do. We could send consciousness. We could send thoughts and things and healing and remote viewing and telepathy and change the fabric of reality, change the weather. I mean, we would focus consciousness. There's so much we could do, and I think these beings, whoever or whatever they are, have that greater awareness, and I think they're coming and going, want us to wake up to our potential.
Mm,
So we can really, like my book says, start making contact. You know my book, right?
of
You have a copy,
course.
right?
Of
Right.
course. Read it.
Making contact is the name of the book, and making contact is the name of the game we're playing, because we don't know who we are. We don't know what our capacity is. When I teach remote viewing, which is sort of related to this, people realize they can see beyond time and space. They're aware non-locally of events and places and things that are not present to their five senses.
Mm,
Now, how is that possible? We don't have a model in our worldview paradigm to understand how that's possible. I mean, we have cell phones. Like my phone could
right.
could could die, but I'm that doesn't mean I stop getting messages. You know, like the radio could break, but it doesn't mean the radio station has stopped broadcasting.
Hmm.
So we are infinite beings, is my belief, picking up the signal of a soul from the quantum field that we are always in all the time. And if we understood that and really integrated that into a new worldview, I think we get closer to realizing what this phenomena is all about. But we're stuck in a paradigm that doesn't work.
That's for sure. And we get closer to a lot of things. That, one of the top ones on the list, but we've obviously missed the boat on so many things. I mean, if you look at the world, it should be abundantly clear that we have a great many misconceptions and beliefs that are not serving us, because we have every ability to live on this beautiful planet that has more than enough for every inhabitant, every creature, every life form on this planet, and somehow we have not found a way to make it work. We're too busy doing so many other things that are absolutely material and not serving us or the planet. So, you hit the
That's
nail. Yeah,
greed and ego.
that's
I
right.
mean,
Greed,
it's
ego. I think it's
capitalism,
and it's
all
safe
the,
to say, I think it's safe to call out the patriarchy at this point. I don't know, like I think that
yeah.
if the world were, not that the world should be run by women, but if it was, and they weren't in imitation of the men running the world, I think it would be a different place. I don't know.
No, it
It's
would totally be a different place. I
yeah,
mean, you know, the men that are running the world, and it's probably mostly men,
yeah,
ego based, materialistic. Um, that's what matters to them, and those are the people we elect to run the place. Not that I don't. I think there's probably another force that's pulling
oh
the
yeah,
strings anyway, and there's this tension between, I think, the beings that want us to evolve and beings that want us to keep us stuck. I think in a way it's a struggle beyond
yeah,
our awareness. Because you're right. There's no reason we should be. We're an incredible planet with abundant resources. No
hmm,
reason everyone should not have exactly what they want. But
right,
there's forces in play, maybe to help us learn the lessons of three dimensionality, that stop us from living the abundant life. We have to choose to do that, but it's not up to government to
mm-mm.
decide. I think there's a lot of distractions. I think even the disclosure thing is a distraction from the truth. It's great to know, are we being visited or not? That's definitely high
Yeah,
on my list. But most of us already know we're being
yeah,
visited. We need a sort of government consensus to let the rest of the world know what
yeah,
we already know. But
true.
I think that will also open the doorway to a higher evolved consciousness. So I bring it back to our own personal evolution collectively. That seems to be what the issue is. Things can come and
Yeah,
go, whatever. But how do we awaken to the greater reality that we're a part of? I don't think plant medicine or AI or whatever it is, they'll get you, they'll open the door, but we have to walk through it.
right.
So,
Even, I mean, and even AI is being, controlled and
Mhm.
narrated by the same forces that we see that are trying to keep information from the general public. And the only reason why they would try to keep information from the general public is because it would be in a very literal way liberating. And
Yeah,
their system is one of control and manipulation and keep the ant colony going at all costs. Don't let the ants stop and, ponder anything, because then they won't realize that, wait a minute, why am I going to work to pay taxes on property I already own? And why,
right.
what's going on? Nobody, nobody owns the earth. Why do I have to pay someone? It's like there'd be a lot of questions. And I think that when the advent of these civilizations come into the general perception of the human race, a lot of these questions are going to be answered in a way that these powers that shouldn't be are not happy with, because it's gonna upend the system they have. So they're white knuckling it. I think that's very safe to say. But
Yeah, I totally agree. You're absolutely right. They're white knuckling it because we're getting closer. And I think it does have to do with us somehow. Will we stand up for the truth? Will we resist government dictates in a
mhm.
way where, you know, so just because someone says it's this way doesn't mean it is this way. So, yeah, it's
I
thinking
agree. I
for us.
feel like that's I hate to say this because sometimes we seem so far from this,
Hmm.
but it seems to me like it's on the human race to take their power back. And that begins with each and every individual and what they're doing, with their own hearts and their own minds and their own consciousness. And that, I feel like that is the hamster wheel that we're on as a race. But until we realize that the power has always been ours and that we've given it away and that we don't need to keep it in the hands of someone else, then we're kind of stuck on this hamster wheel of like waiting for a quote a savior. We have people waiting for a messiah. We have people working overtime to bring about the events that say, well, when this happens, their messiah will come. Well, what be that what do we got to lose? So we're going to erase half the population of the planet to get to your religious prophecy? Like, really, is that the game that we're playing? It's
Yeah.
crazy,
You're saying we have to take our power back. Okay.
yes.
We don't have to take it's back. Okay,
Yeah.
we have the power. Okay, we got it. We don't have to take it back. We
Right.
got it. Now what? Now, okay, you got the power. I got the power. What is it? I don't know why my camera's moving. But what is it now that we have the power? What is it that we're to do with the power that we have taken back?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have to redesign the structure of society, and take a good look at the belief systems we're installing in people, because that has to change with this new understanding of our sovereignty, of our divinity, that each and every individual, regardless of race, regardless of place of birth, this is imbued in us with our every breath. And this brief experience, profound experience we have as a physical being, that comes with these innate, qualities. And I think that we have to teach our children that, or else we'll just end up in the same place, and then I think society would rearrange itself around these core beliefs, as opposed to the absurdities we're taught in school, the fake history,
Yeah,
all this materialism. But anyway,
it's true. No, you're right. I'm in agreement. I think uh I don't know. Well, I think there's also another force that's feeding off the drama, the intensity, the war.
hmm
Have you heard the term loosh?
yes,
Robert
yes,
Monroe. It's actually how I see emotional energy that it's energy, but the energy that feeds these archonic beings, this beings
mm,
called the archons that live off our energy. They live off of intensity, violence, emotion, high anxiety.
yeah,
They we feed them that, and it's their they instigate those
yeah,
situations for us because that's food for them. Because energy is food. And so
Hmm.
what we have to do is resist the dramas that feed,
Starve them out.
starting out by being sovereign in your own sense of emotional well-being. It
Yes.
starts with us. You don't want to feed them if you're grounded and centered and emotionally stable.
Yes.
I mean,
That's
I'm
it.
dealing with my mother who's sort of going crazy. She every
Yeah.
phone call I end up yelling because
Mm.
she's very much in an old mindset. It's like,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah.
engages that energy that that I've
Yeah.
tried to avoid. I guess I can't avoid it. Um,
Yeah. And traditionally, I mean, I say traditionally, in our circles anyway, we've attributed these archonic beings to, and there's been a lot that has come out from people who worked closely in World War II with the Germans and what they
right,
were kind of doing. But,
right,
um, you know, regarding the Draco reptilians you know, of course, David Icke is the most famous person who has come out and
right,
said publicly, listen, these are not normal humans. They have blood ties to this race of beings, which are they're a race of louches, and they want to keep us stuck in
right,
3D because that's how they feed off us. And also, they have a great animosity towards the human being for taking a planet that they were hoping that they could, evolve a higher sentient species on. Which, if you look at the dinosaurs, makes a lot of sense. We start to look at the history. It did look like this planet was being primed for an evolution of reptilian sentience. And then a few big things happened, and here we are, us mammals. So it's like, I could see how there would be a lot of resentment and, a lot of incentive for manipulation.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the true history of that is,
Yeah.
reptilian. I mean, maybe, but right now, it's up to us to take, like you said, our power back by not giving into those forces
Yes.
that are disturbing, and they're in each one of us. There's a trigger point in each one of us that gets us back to those other beings. So I think what the other beings are trying to do is up level our consciousness
Mm.
so we can feel these higher emotions, which have to do with creativity, which has to do with love, which
Hmm.
has to do with selfless giving and
Unconditional
offering.
love. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a little cliche, but it's true.
it is. I
It's,
agree.
so that's where we're stuck now. But I think everything seems to be just dissolving, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Like the old order,
Yeah.
for better or worse.
Yeah. And you see
Yeah.
it in personal people in the personal journey that people when people go on a healing journey, a spiritual journey, you see a lot of times things start to get very chaotic so that they can rearrange themselves in a coherent manner. And so I think that if you look at the world today, it's safe to say that is what's happening, and hopefully on the other side of it will come this age of coherence and consciousness. But getting back to disclosure, you did mention Spielberg's
Yeah.
newest Disclosure Day, which looks very exciting, and certainly I think it's safe to say that trailer seizes on the general sentiment of many of us who have been kind of more in the know than most people, as far as like, when is enough, when are we going to get the truth?
Right.
And so my question is, like, you have Spielberg's releasing Disclosure Day, you have Vince Gilligan from the X-Files and Breaking Bad is back with an Apple TV show called Pluribus, and suddenly ETs aren't portrayed as invaders, they're portrayed as something intimate and internal. And so I'm wondering if you see this as a coincidence, or perhaps it's more cultural preparation and predictive programming.
Well, I don't think it's cultural preparation. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's a reflection of where we're at as a human civilization. So, you know, media reflects us, we reflect the
Hmm.
media, but we're this whole idea of consciousness being an application, a something we could use to modify the sense of reality. I think the telepathy tapes were really key and
Mm,
still are key in showing us potentials that we weren't aware of before. So I think there are forces, of course, trying to manipulate and control us, but there's this always been it used to be the artists, the artists were always there. Bob Dylan in the 60s, and
hmm.
you know radical avant-garde, so I mean I like the art scene here because they reflected like
Yes.
a rebellion against mainstream. There's new art forms. I mean, I don't know if that's still happening, but there's
Yeah,
other
it seems to have
ways.
tapered a bit, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But I think there's always a counter force that we are like looking towards. We're looking, so we have to kind of just keep, when the industrial age came in, what they called the Enlightenment, they called it the
Mm,
European Enlightenment. That was rationality, science. Things were real because you could measure it. There was this whole movement by the symbolists to go, no, there's something more than the visible. The purpose of their art was to make the invisible visible. So I think that's what we're trying to do in this
mm.
kind of alternative media mindset. How do we how do we do it opposite from what the
Yeah.
mainstream is telling us?
Yeah,
Um,
and this new narrative that we're seeing in some of these recent Hollywood productions and shows, it kind of dovetails with something that you said the last time we spoke. You said that contact isn't observational; it's participatory, right?
yeah,
And if that's
yeah,
true, what's the cost of waiting for proof instead of figuring out how to engage? Because you and I both know there are a myriad of ways you can engage, tonight, today, tomorrow,
right.
and it's there,
We're engaging. I mean, people are doing Close Encounters 5. They're calling in craft.
Hmm.
Chris Blutzo is a major, major player. You know Chris Blutzo's work?
I love him. I would love to have him on. Will you talk to him for me?
I will talk to him. I just interviewed him. Really nice
Oh,
guy.
nice. Yeah, he's supposed to be amazing. I
Trying
would
to
love
come
that.
to Sedona. He's going to be in Sedona
Okay.
for the conference I'm doing there on March 20th to 22nd. The
Ooh, I
Sedona
may
Ascension Retreat. And he's going to
I
be
may
leading
have
it.
to try to come to that. Yeah.
Yeah, come to that. I'm going to be at the LA Expo too. Are you going to be there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, say hello.
I will. Of
So
course I will.
I think, yeah, I think we have to go out and call them in. I mean, governments are falling apart anyway, in a sense where,
Mm,
you know, I mean, I think we need to be unified somehow, so it's not just chaos, but we need to find a new way of doing that. And I think calling in these craft and Bashar, Bashar says
of course.
2027.
Yeah.
That's the year that changed. That's the year, ready or not, here
Everything
we come.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah, everything changes. It's like,
Wow. That's exciting.
it is
I,
exciting. And what's exciting is the buildup towards that.
mhm.
Like all these things, the age of disclosure, Spielberg's thing, we're revving up for a shift. I think unlike anything we've seen before, a flash of light, if you talk to Ann Tucker or this or that, there's something happening. I mean, it feels intense. Doesn't it feel intense to you?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's coming to a boil. It's definitely
Yeah.
intense.
And so, how are you sensing it in your body? What do you feel?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's imminent, and they're aware that it's imminent, and that they can no longer keep the cat in the bag. And so my concern, of course, like many, is that they get out ahead of and demonize it and turn it into something that they can scare people with. The long-standing plan, Operation Bluebeam, where they used both their existing technology and the fact that of course, we are being visited, and there are ships in and around our planet. And there have been for as long as we've been here, but like that, they use this as another mechanism to say, okay, this is happening now. Everyone has to fall in line, do what they're told, so that we can manage this crisis, this emergency, this threat from outer space. That's
Well,
my concern.
I know what you're saying, but obviously that experiment didn't work with COVID, right?
Right?
So people didn't follow it, and it actually gave people more, some people anyway did,
Yeah.
and gave people more power to resist the falling in line.
And it woke a lot of people up. A lot.
Yes,
My
yes.
God. You know,
So those things backfire.
they do.
I mean, unless that's the intent. So, I don't know. I think what I feel though when I say it's intense, it's like sometimes not being able to sleep at night. Um,
Mm,
how else? Feeling tired or energized.
yeah.
I don't know. Do I guess I mean I talk to other people going through, but maybe that's always gone on. I don't know.
Yeah. I always wonder, how much of it is that, how much of it is just personal or lifestyle. But obviously some people are more sensitive than others to these energies, and there's a precognition element involved, which
Yes.
we
Good point.
both know from, if you've ever remote viewed, that time is not exactly linear the way we're taught it is. But so, because I want to get into remote viewing too, but we're speaking of engaging in the higher consciousness. You're a very wise man, Alan, and I enjoy our conversations. And so I wanted
Thank
to ask this for my audience because um, I just know in my heart that you have a lot to offer on this subject. What is the first internal shift that you think someone has to make before their perception can begin to change and their consciousness can begin to expand?
That's a good question because I was just talking to my mother about this. She is full of anxiety, that person. She's
Mm,
always worrying or thinking. And I say, don't listen to your thoughts. Observe the thoughts.
mm,
Your your thoughts will just keep coming, but you're not your thoughts. You can watch your mind. So in meditation is the best way. You're sitting there and you get a thought, oh, I have to call that person. And you just watch these thoughts, and the thoughts will, it's like listening to someone on the radio. The thoughts will come, the thoughts will go. If you don't attach to them, and you're just the observer, you can't stop your thinking. Like, I don't know, people say you meditate, you stop your thought. You don't ever seem to stop thoughts, but you can stop reacting to the thought.
right.
That for me was a big game changer because I went to visit the Australian Aborigines, and when
Mm,
they sit, their religion in a way is dream time. They don't
mm,
have, and so they already know they're they're another level of conscious. They already know that they're not their bodies, they're not their mind, they are the spirit in those bodies, and their their doorway into the spirit world is dreaming.
mm,
Dream time. What dream time is, and I've tried this because I've hung out with these people, you're watching yourself fall asleep. You're watching your mind, and you have your normal thoughts, you have your what you have to do tomorrow, all that, and then if you stay with that long enough, there's something else that happens where the flow of consciousness takes over from your thinking, but you still have to be the watcher. So you're watching your thoughts, and then you're no longer watching the thoughts that's in your head. You're getting visions of other places, other things, people you've never met. At least that happens to me. I
hmm.
mean, you're not reacting, you're just observing the flow of the dream time. And then sometimes I lose consciousness, I just
Right.
out. But other times I can stay a little more lucid and realize that my awareness is is someplace else, but it's still me. We are our awareness. So
Right.
for me, being the observer, the watcher, is definitely the first step
Yes.
to realizing you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not your mind, you're not your personality, you're not your favorite baseball team or political party. People get so
I
attached
know.
to their identity. You know, you can't be in Cincinnati and not be a Reds fan. It's dangerous. Really, it is.
Right.
People take what they identify with as self, maybe because they don't have anything else to identify with. I'm not talking about the people of Cincinnati, but you know, people's
Yeah.
political beliefs. Like you can't insult them, or
Right.
because they that people get so identified with something outside
That's a
themselves.
problem. Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. That's why, you know, you get the wars based on
Mm-hmm.
religion all over the world because
That's
that's who
right.
people are. They're this or they're that. You know, Krishnamurti says, anytime you call yourself a Christian, Muslim, Jew, you have done an act of violence because you've separated yourself from the
Yep.
rest of humanity. Because essentially, we're not any of those things.
No.
We're not the labels, not to insult anyone who might be any of those things. That's great if that's what, you know, makes you
Right.
happy. But you're not that. You're not your
No.
name. You're not your history. You're not even your thoughts. You, whoever you or we are the observing awareness. And that's a practice. You know,
That's
that's
it.
what
That's it. It's a habituation of a practice, a consciousness practice.
Advaita, maybe they call it non-dual. I mean, dualism is like, oh, you're that.
Mm.
But if you're not that, you're just the I am that I am,
Right.
and you know it because you've dropped into the place where everything else dissolved. Like it becomes, you have to do that. You have
You
to
do.
have the experience of deep meditation
Yes.
in
It
order
is.
to
It is
realize,
priceless. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's the doorway, which means, I mean, I don't do it enough, but just sitting with yourself and watching your mind until you realize you're timeless.
Right. And
And
you know, for people who have anxiety and who get, listen, before I touch on that, I want to comment on something you said because the biggest reason why they are able to use so effectively these divide and conquer tactics, which keep us infighting instead of looking to unite and make real change, is the fact that they understand people are completely wrapped up in these identity politics, geopolitics, religion. You know, they know that, and so the moment something comes along, they use the press to make draw the line in the sand and say, watch this, you know, and then we go at it like Pavlov's dogs, and they sit back and they continue the charade that they are actually doing something to govern, you know, whatever nation is in. This applies to most governments, but if
right,
people didn't you know, like right now with the shooting in Minneapolis, so you have half the country saying for whatever reason that this murder was justified, and most of the people saying that, you know, I don't know if it's half, I hope it's not half, but you know what I'm saying, there's usually a 50-50 split, but half the people are saying, are you, how could you possibly justify this? And they're saying, well, he was under threat, or he, you know, but most of the people who are defending the murder of this woman who did not need to, she was not a threat to anyone. That should be clear to anyone watching objectively. You know,
right,
they are aligned on the right, and their loyalty is to the man in the White House. And so they don't want to make they don't want to admit that this came from a decision that he was, you know, either made or was, you know, pressured into making about putting ICE agents on the street. That's the security state. That's the police state. So they're justifying this. And I'm just like, why are you justifying murder? This wasn't a police officer. He was not, you know, she didn't have something in her pocket and she raised it or make him think that she was going to, all she did was, you know, get scared and try to drive away. Anyway, I'm just using that as an example because you
no, I
can,
thought that was horrific. I mean,
oh
it
my
was
God,
obvious. It was
obviously
obvious that this woman just wanted to get away.
she was scared.
She was definitely scared. She didn't want to, and and you could hear the other officers yelling, "What did you do? What did you do? Did you
Yeah.
hear that?" They may have cut
Yeah.
it out because I was watching it sort of right after it happened. I never
Yeah.
watched television, but I was happened to be in an
He literally
office.
sidestepped her and then shot her 3 times. You know, he got out of the way, which takes him out of mortal danger, and then
I mean,
continued.
why didn't he just shoot the tires? Or that's what
I
I
mean,
would.
why didn't he just get in his car and pursue?
I
Like what?
would but if you're going to shoot something, shoot. Stop.
Yeah,
Don't shoot through the windshield.
when you're right there, you know what I mean? Like they always say, well, that would be a hard shot. Well, it wouldn't have been a hard shot for him. He was standing right next to it. It would have been point blank.
Right.
You know?
And I
Co-
think the guy panicked.
oh
I
yeah.
think he was on automatic. I think a lot of
Totally.
those people doing those sort of jobs just are, I mean,
Yep.
I don't know, but very single focus, and
Fight
they're
or
following
flight. Yeah.
orders. And that was the problem in Nazi Germany. I'm not saying this is like Nazi, but they're just following orders. It's
Right.
like I think,
Right. So I just
yeah,
wanted to use that example because, again, if people did not I over identify with a political party, or, or any of these belief systems that aren't who we truly are, then the divide and conquer tactics wouldn't work.
right.
We people would see something like this and they would condemn it as unnecessary and completely, a obscene and needless loss of life, as opposed to attempting to justify and defend the age. And like it's this over identification. Instead of with humans, you identify with
I
nonsense. And
know it gets me upset
you
too
know
that people could look at the same video
yeah.
and say something totally insane
Mm.
and opposite from what Jimmy Kimmel said too the other night. Do you listen to Jimmy Kimmel?
No, what
He
did he
said,
say though?
he said it's obvious. This
Yeah.
woman was what you said, but he said it, and it was obvious.
Yeah.
And like, I think what you're getting at is that we have to remember our human
Mm.
nature, that
Yeah.
we're humans as the first let's identify, start there. Let's
Yeah.
start and end there. We're not Americans or English or all these things. Those are all, if we can start from the common sense that we're all humans and we all feel the same thing. When
Yep.
I met Marshall Rosenberg, do you know who he is? Nonviolent
No.
communication. He started a thing called nonviolent communication. He was a real emotional genius in a way. He says all human beings have the same needs and the same feelings.
Mm.
Their strategies for meeting those needs is what differentiates us.
Yeah.
So somebody might have a strategy to make a living, so he become an ice agent. But so it's the strategies that can be what Marshall Rosenberg calls a tragic expression of an unmet need when people
Mm.
act out. Like, the other horrific story was that the Rob Reiner thing that happened,
Yeah.
that was very disturbing. Just
Hmm.
because Rob Reiner is such a nice, likable guy,
Yeah.
such a creative talent. But you know what's so ironic? I don't know, people probably react, but I don't know if I should even say it, but
You got to say it now. Well, give me a hint.
oh no, but he can't. He started out in the show called All in the Family. All in the Family.
Oh, yeah.
How ironic that is! Isn't
Yeah.
that weird? I mean, I
It's crazy.
mean,
It's crazy. I mean, it's, life is full of
it's so
ironies like that.
true.
You had,
Yeah,
it's like the story of the, what was the movie called? American Sniper, where,
yeah.
played by, Bradley Cooper, and he's playing that guy who's overcoming PTSD after having been one of the most successful and legendary snipers in Afghanistan, I want to say, or maybe
Yeah,
Iraq,
yeah.
and then he's working with people who are also overcoming PTSD. And what happens to him?
I didn't see the
Almost
movie.
not ironically, he is shot dead by one of the people who he's helping for no reason whatsoever. It's like, my God, there's
Oh,
irony for you. He finally comes around and he's trying to make peace with himself and help people, and he picks up somebody who has a psychotic break and kills him. Like it's just same kind of thing with this guy. Like
well,
he did so much for his son.
but yeah, I know. Wow, I know. I'm glad I didn't see that movie. But drugs and mental illness.
Yeah.
I think drugs, especially those addictive drugs, open you up to these things
Mm.
that control your life, and it's like you're being possessed by the drug itself in a way, you know. That's why I don't. That's why I don't even like psychedelics. I mean, it's fine if people do that and plant medicine, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
but I like my own state of mind. I
Right.
feel
Right.
more high creating,
Hmm.
writing, editing, filmmaking.
Yeah.
You know, that's that's really. I don't know why my camera keeps moving like that,
No, that's
but
okay.
but anyway, that's what's exciting for me, and so I think anything you put on top of the self is a distortion of the self,
Right.
and
I
it's
mean,
like
I think it can, psychedelics and certainly plant ceremonies can be a wonderful gate for people to walk through to come to some greater realizations about this reality. But at the same time, I feel like, there also, there comes a point where it's a little more, enough is enough, then it becomes more of a mask or even like an anesthetic as
I
opposed
mean,
to,
it's an
yeah,
escape. You know, people who do ayahuasca every month. It's like
yeah,
really.
yeah,
It's like, I did one 10 years ago. That was like enough for me to digest. And it
yeah,
was blissful. I mean, I've had good experience. I had like
right.
psychic
Me too.
opening. I mean, but I think it's like a phase of opening a door.
Right.
And if that's what you need to do, great. But, you only need medicine when
Yeah.
you require medicine.
Right, right.
Medicine is not something you're taking all the time.
Right,
So
exactly. Yes. Yes.
So I'm not putting it down. If people want to do that, not judging it, that's fine. People can do whatever
Yeah,
they
I
want.
think it has its place and that everything should be in moderation and that, is
But
yeah,
it's,
but
yeah, my judgment is it's in the way of discovering
yeah.
the true self,
Hmm.
whatever that is.
So
Yeah.
speaking
Yeah.
of what you've been doing with your free time, I'm if someone listening wanted to begin to learn how to remote view,
Mm.
besides signing up for a class with you, what do you think the best way for them to begin is?
Well, I call it the yoga of the mind, actually.
Okay.
So we have dual processors in our brain, right? We have the left brain and the right brain. You know about that, right? This is not new.
Yes, of course.
Left brain is what's engaged in rational thinking, numbers, language, thinking. It's engaged in thinking. And from the time we're 5 years old, we're trained pretty much just in left brain dynamics. So we're taught to put things in language, which is great. You need
Hmm.
that. You need that. That's your steering wheel through the world. But the right brain, the creative brain, the dreaming brain, the knowing, I call it the knowing brain. I say your left brain is thinking, your right brain is knowing. And you know the difference between knowing and thinking? Do you know
Oh
the
yeah.
difference? What would you say the difference is?
Well, knowledge is experiential. It's wisdom.
Right.
Thinking is more. It's more abstract. There's more of a question there.
Right. I bring it down to do you think you're on this call with me or do you know you're on the call
I
with
know
me?
I am. Yeah.
Right. You don't have to think about it. So there's a vitality of knowing
Mm.
that doesn't come when you think. Now, there's nothing wrong with thinking, but it's taken over people's lives and it can
Overthinking certainly
them.
has. Yeah.
So and I'm getting back to remote viewing, when you're present and you're present, you're in the know. You're not living in the past
Mm.
future. You're knowing. There's no past. When you're present, there's a thought of the past maybe, but you're present with what's around you. That's knowing. So in remote viewing, what I try to do is get people present and then extend their consciousness to another level of awareness. So it's like mm, so you drop into an empty space, and then I say, okay, I have a target here, Faust.
Mm.
Close your eyes, drop in, and think of the first picture. I don't have right. Should I get one right now for you? Okay.
I mean, if you want, I'm usually pretty bad under
Okay.
pressure, but
Okay.
but I could.
I got something in my hand now.
Okay. Okay.
and you have to clear your mind. Don't. It's not about anything you would expect me or anybody to have. It has to come with you. So take another breath in and breathe out everything. Good, good. Now one more breath in. Okay, one more time, just one. Good. Okay. I'm holding something in my right hand. Tune into my right hand across time and space and see what images come. Don't try to name it, but what's the shape, the size, the texture of this object?
Bluish green square.
All right, wait,
Um,
just sit for a moment. Ru- Uh, as it comes to you when you're not thinking or guessing, something will just come into your mind. What does it sort of look like? What does it? Let it just come into you. I'll try to send it to you too. Okay.
mm, I mean, I feel like wavy or
Mhm.
something squiggly.
Wavy is getting closer to it. Wherever you went in your mind when
Mm,
you got that, that's why it's the yoga of the mind. You have to recognize how your mind is processing
right.
information, and it's a practice.
Hmm.
Um, so you may get like the idea of wavy, but don't get attached to, oh, it's wavy, so it must be this, this, or this. No,
Right.
it's one piece. We, the right brain gets fragments of it. So you got
Mm,
that, but how does it feel? What is it? What's it feel like? Is it heavy or light? Is it soft or hard? Is it, what colors? Don't guess. Don't guess at it. Just it has to come to you, or else you're not remote viewing. Then you're guessing.
yeah.
And I
The
know,
challenge
yeah,
is trying to decipher between what's coming to you and what you're maybe thinking or imagining.
that's exactly the challenge.
Mm,
That's
you
the
know.
separation between the left brain that doesn't know anything; it just thinks it does, and the right brain that knows but
Mm.
doesn't know how to tell you what it knows.
So I feel like what was bubbling up
Hmm.
was like something I got hard. I got almost I want to say like glassy or crystally and wavy, but again, I was my struggling between the right brain and left brain, and it was tough for me to decipher what was
Well,
purely coming up. You know.
that's exactly the big challenge.
Mm.
It's like once you start to find your way to tap in, and what the key is, I'm going to give you some feedback. I'm going to show you the object, then,
Okay.
and you can see how were you. What was the part you got right? What was the quality of thought
Mm.
that you had, as opposed to where you may have went off and said this blue that's like it's so subtle, the
Yeah.
qualities of consciousness, that that's what good remote viewers
They
start.
learn to really
Yeah,
decipher well. They get really good at it. Yeah.
I know, and you were just doing it cold. I know we haven't had any practice or
Hmm.
something. There's certain techniques to drop in, but anyway, this is the thing that I was
Oh,
holding in
okay.
my hand. It's kind of wavy. It's solid. I think it's one of those coral things I picked off the old
Yeah.
store. So you got the elements of waviness because
Hmm.
sometimes you get the associations around the object, not just
Hmm.
the object. So you got maybe the waviness of the water, you got the solidness
Yeah.
there. So that was good because you
Yeah.
got elements. You just didn't say it was a plastic toy or something like that,
Right. Right.
which is good. So you were actually using your right brain to tap into the quantum field. I could tell from where you went with your consciousness.
Hmm.
You weren't guessing. You were really allowing, and it is the struggle because if you can stop the left brain from, you'd be an
Mm.
amazing remote viewer. You would be. That's why, like, artists are usually good remote creative
Right.
people. They're tapping into that realm.
Right.
Realm.
they
being.
get really good at it, and it's a
Yeah,
it's a practice. Some people obviously have a greater natural affinity and ability with it, of course, but I think that it's something that anyone can really learn to do and get good at it. Just because some people have a natural gift for it, that's like, you could say that about just about everything. But I thank you for letting me try that, and I did better than I thought I would anyway. You know what helped though, when you kept
better.
saying when you were coaching me, you would say no, 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 not what you think, and I kept like that allowed me to shuffle what I thought were the thoughts and let what remained be what I spoke, what I said, and so it's very
Right.
helpful. Yeah.
It is. I should have told you the clue that Russell Targ told me when he taught me it. You know who Russell Targ is?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Well, he taught me sort of how I just did it with you. He said, "What surprising thing pops into your mind?"
Mm,
That was a big clue. That made me trust this other thing.
mm.
And then he said to me, which I should have done to you too, is if I put this in your hand, what would it feel like? How would you describe it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are clues. I didn't know how deep we were going to go,
Yeah.
but you did do really well because
Thank you.
you were sensing how the thinking mind is different than the knowing mind.
Mm,
And so, the right brain gets the raw material and the left brain tells a story about it. So
hmm.
the
Yeah.
story is how it puts together a thing, and then it must be this. And that's actually an automatic or almost automatic uh,
Mm,
key to how
yeah.
we think. It's what we need. We're out in the world. We see something. We have to constantly make sense of it. So your left brain really comes into play, and then there's the right brain just is at peace and knowing. And Jill Bolton
Yeah.
gives a great talk about the left and right brain.
And there's a great book called At Left Brain Turn Right that I read a while
Oh,
back.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
a left
For
brain.
artists, for people who are looking to, tap more into that, who have been more geared towards, the logic, mathematical part, and who are looking to find ways to open up and that part of the mind. It's a great book.
Left
Um,
brain turn right. I'm
At
gonna
Left Brain Turn Right. Yeah.
I'm
I
writing
forgot
it.
the author, but it's a very specific and unique name.
Right. I love
But
that.
so you've taught this and you've watched a lot of people practice it, and you one of your teachers was one of the most legendary guys of remote viewing, Russell Targ. What are, if you can recall, like what was the is there one or two really? I mean, she probably had dozens, but mind blowing remote viewings that you've either had yourself or witnessed someone have firsthand. Any stick out in your memory?
Yeah, well, one that sticks out for me. Well, there's two that sticks out. One from another guy. You know who Anita Morjani is? The
Oh,
dying.
of course. Yeah,
And
she's
her,
been on my podcast. Yeah.
right. So her husband Danny. You know Danny?
Yeah, I know Danny. I met Danny.
Danny was taking my remote viewing course, and I had this picture, and he kept saying, "Okay," because he was pretty. He's a really open guy, actually. He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, I'm seeing something like something in the sky. Feels like there's something coming down at me or onto the scene." And what the target was a UFO,
Mm.
but it didn't have anything coming down from it. But what I think happened, he sensed the energetics that wasn't in the picture, but it was
Mm.
present in the actual event. So that was like, wow, he sensed something beyond what was known in the
Mm.
target at the time. And that was very interesting.
Wow.
So when you remote view something, I might be looking at a picture, like I did a remote viewing of the moon landing,
Mm-hmm.
but I was looking at, like, Neil Armstrong coming off the steps, and people got shadows. I got empty wasteland. They didn't quite get the moon. Maybe someone said, "Oh, they saw a flag there,"
Mm.
and there wasn't a flag in the picture that I was using as a target, but people don't just get, when they're tuning into the target, they're not just getting the picture eye might be using to focus, they're getting the whole event of the thing. Like sometimes I do the event, not to give too much away. Like I say, and it's kind of like intense target, but I say, okay, have this target, and some people say, oh, it seems presidential. There's lots of people. There's like,
Mm.
thing, and it's like the Kennedy assassination, and people get both sides of it. They get like
Wow.
this big celebration, then they get the awfulness, the horror, and so it's like a target has all these elements. Sometimes the CIA would remote do targets that were um, had elements of something that was there in the past, but wasn't there in the
Yeah.
present. So it's like when you talk to these telepathy kids when they think of Christmas, they're thinking of everything about Christmas, the present,
Mm.
Santa Claus, the trees. It's like the vast associations with a certain target is everything about the target, and that's that was really an interesting thing that I learned firsthand
Yeah.
in the class. Yeah,
It's amazing the way the human mind works. And I was fascinated watching very famous remote viewer, one of the most famous, Joe McMoneagle,
yes,
tell his story about when he was given an envelope with some GPS coordinates in it, latitude, longitude, I think, and wasn't told that they weren't for Earth. And he
right.
just picked it up and started and did what he was doing. And he was like, wow, is this new? He was like, this is huge. Like this a new discovery? He was like, this is a massive pyramid. And
You-
he was like, it seems to be built for these beings that are a lot bigger than we are, and he
right.
all this, and he's just like, where is this? And they're just like, just keep going, and they didn't tell him until afterwards that he was remote viewing Mars 1 million years in the past. And he was like, wow, when he found that out, like, but so much information came to him. He was just like spitting it out. And all they did was hand him the coordinates to a place, where they knew there was a structure on Mars. And it's just
Yeah,
amazing what a remote viewer, everything especially one on his level, they collect so much. And he was talking about the emotions. And he was like, I feel like there people were trapped there, but they knew that no one was coming to save them, and they were,
right.
but they're not alive anymore. He's like, it feels like it happened long ago, and so much information.
Good remote viewer can tune right in like that, and I think Joe
Yeah,
McMonagle's one of the best. I mean,
yeah.
someone Russell talks about is Pat Price.
Pat Price, yeah,
Pat,
I think he was killed because he was so damn good.
well, that's what they think. Yeah, he was worked for the CIA, but Russell tells a story where someone from the government was going to see, well, is this remote viewing stuff real or
Mm.
not? And so this guy from the government goes out with Hal Puthoff, and they're looking for a place that Pat Price would remote view, and they're driving around and they're looking. And Pat Price says to Russell, I'm not going to wait for them to
Oh, yeah,
anywhere. Have you heard that story?
yeah, yeah.
He'd be at the boat dock, and he drew a picture of it at 3 p.m. And they went out for coffee. And meanwhile, the guys in the car, Hal and this other guy, didn't know where they were going to be. They
Right.
didn't know where they were going to end up. They finally did end up where Pat Bryce said they would be, a half hour before they knew they were going to be there. So how do you explain
Amazing.
that? How does that make sense? It means there's no time and space in the way we think of
Yeah,
time and space, and that's
it's amazing.
it is amazing. So I actually in my class I have people remote viewing the picture on the front of the New York Times the next day.
Wow.
People get that. It's
Wow.
just they get aspect. I mean, I did it. I got it. I did that for a course that I was in. It's like
That's so cool.
how it's more, but yeah, but how is that possible? Does that mean everything is predetermined, or does it mean that we have a glimpse of what's possible? I don't know. It's like, but it shows you what we think of consciousness is not what we think of
That's
consciousness.
right. It's a very limited idea
It
of
is. It is.
what we're working with. It's like we have all this software, but we have not explored its facets really in
Right.
any actual true way. But some of us are trying, and we're making progress. And and then you have things like telepathy tapes coming out, which really, for anyone truly paying attention, put the kibosh on this notion that telepathy is some kind of myth or not something humans are capable of. I think that the amazing thing about what's come from the telepathy tapes is now we have a scientific setting that is proving that telepathy is within the human capacity to do. Because guess what? The moms aren't autistic. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're communicating telepathically as well. So my God, I really hope they continue to study and
Well,
expand that.
Diane Hennessy, who really is the one who discovered, talked to this guy, Milton Fried, what's his name? Milton? Something Morris Friedman in Canada.
Mm,
He says that the more developed your left brain is, the less psychic psi functions you have.
makes
So he
sense.
did an experiment where he disabled the left brain and people had more psi capacity. So think of it that way. When you're in kindergarten, you're learning to translate everything into words and numbers. You're shutting down the creativity and you're shutting off your psychic abilities.
Mm,
So I don't know if that's a conspiracy, but it definitely is a result of a sort of education that
hmm.
stops us from digging into the other parts of our brain,
Right.
the other parts of awareness. I mean, it's not
Hmm.
the brain is receiving the energy like a radio, but if we shut off part of the channel, like the psychic part, then we're just receiving, you know,
Yeah. Yep.
uh, re- yeah,
I understand completely. And I don't know, part of me believes that it is a small conspiracy, but the education system itself is a giant, conspiracy made to keep people from truly becoming critically thinking, intuitive human beings. Just teach them enough to get them out and try to figure out what career they want to contribute,
right,
with.
right. It's, yeah.
But,
How to fit
so
into this society, how to
yeah,
work in a cubicle.
cookie cutter, success is wealth and get a great job, or, or not, you
Exactly.
know, but so for a while, we're hearing that AI is going to, I don't buy into a lot of this, but people are obsessed with quote AI. And I'm like, show me the part of it that's supposed to be intelligent again. Cause I keep missing that. But AI might become conscious and sentient, and then all of a
And,
sudden now people are less concerned because they're using it as a tool, or at least they think they are. What are
mhm.
your thoughts? What do you make of that?
Well, I think there's no ghost in the machine, first of all.
Right.
Yeah, a
What do
lot
you
of
mean when you say that, though?
people have relationships. They think AI is being possessed by some higher consciousness. I think it's a very sophisticated machine. I think people said that about television. Oh,
Mm,
people get upset, or the internet. Well, here's the next phase of media, and I think it's a great tool, and it seems really intelligent, just like nature seems really
right.
artistic, but nature is just being nature. And computers are just being computers programmed in a certain way to function a certain way. And it's another way of giving away our power, what we talked about earlier.
Indeed.
Oh, but if you use it, Thomas Jefferson said, the price of liberty is constant vigilance. So if you go back to the early technology, you know what the earliest technology was, at least in human history? I think it was fire.
Fire. Yeah.
Fire. So you had this incredible, people still don't know what it is, but you could warm your house, cook your food, or you could burn it down. So it's like that, it's a double edged sword. Every advancement has the other side. And this is an advancement if we use it right. I mean, I think it's a great editor for writing. It helps me with ideas that
Right.
make, but I wouldn't go to it. I mean, I knew this girl. She actually said she had a personal, she had a personal,
Oh, I know more than one. Like they got nicknames. It's like
yeah, this
their
girl
go-to,
her thing, a name, and
you
she's
know?
like,
I'm
you
like,
know,
"Wait, what?"
I know it's like it kind of turned me off in a bit. And she's like, you felt closer to this than any person. I said, well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
But I mean,
it's crazy.
it's a distortion. And
Hmm.
people are so isolated and lonely that if they're best, it's like that movie, Her. Did you ever see the movie
Mm,
Her?
yes, with Joaquin
Very,
Phoenix.
very prophetic. I love that movie, but I
Yeah.
never thought it would really happen that way. It's really happening that way.
Hmm.
And what I think of it, it's like it's double edged, like all great
Yes,
inventions, and don't
agreed.
give your power to it. I mean, doom scrolling, I find myself, oh, I'm scrolling on these like
Hmm.
shorts and like it's an hour and I don't remember anything I just seen.
No.
You know, it's just like goes right to, for the moment, in that moment, that's like, wow, that's interesting. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's clever.
Right.
And then it becomes a blur
Hmm.
and it becomes mindless because it's like nothing's really making
Right.
impact because it's overstimulation and it's a habit for a lot of people.
It is.
I mean it's doom
And it's a
scroll.
way to shun presence, a lot of times it comes from, and it ends up being habitual, but
Mhm.
it keeps you from being present in your body and with the people around you.
Right. It keeps you from yourself. I mean it's a
Yeah.
waste, a total waste. I mean, yeah, there's some great things. I mean, I post some
No, me
things,
too. I know.
but still it's not helping anyone really. I mean,
No, it's
but it's so we're
it serves a purpose and it can be beneficial, but you got to make sure that you haven't lost yourself in it, and that
well,
you're not, losing hours of doom scrolling, and that gets more and more challenging with the events we see unfolding.
mm,
Yeah, but so this is in this moment in history, Alan. I think it's asking something of us, not as a species, but as individuals. What do you think that it is asking of us?
what sort of what the UFOs are asking of us? What new technologies to find our own intelligence, realize the potential of consciousness
Hmm.
inside this awareness, stop indulging in thought, start accessing knowing, just the way you were doing it, like
Hmm.
that kind of inner struggle between, oh, am I thinking or am I knowing? This is come and let's go deeper into those, that kind of inner conflict in a sense as a collective. Let's address those issues. Let's find out who we really are in terms of an infinite consciousness. Like,
Hmm.
the only way you could have done what you just did was to have a part of you that was everywhere all the time, all at once. And knowing that. And that's not a local thing. It's not like local to your body. It's a mind that transcends time and space. So when we know we're infinite, and I think when I teach remote viewing, I feel like, wow, how is that possible?
Hmm.
Must be evidence. It's not, wasn't guessing. I mean, when you get these things that
Right.
people are not guessing, how could they? I mean, this is actually what Hal Puthoff said in some interview. He says, a scientist, Hal goes into the office every day at Stanford. He says, this is not possible. I don't know how. And at the end
Hmm.
of the day, he'd be constantly surprised with the thing. And I've been constantly surprised in a really rewarding way because it's like I say to people, I can't teach you remote viewing, but you can learn it.
Hmm.
Teach you anything, but you already have it. It's like you are already it.
Hmm.
So when we know we're already it, and whatever like minor disturbance in people's lives are up, they're depressed, they're lonely, they're sad, just be with those feelings without avoiding the feelings
Hmm.
Don't indulge the feelings. Be the observer and feeler of the feelings, because if you push it away, it's going to remain.
Hmm.
But if you are with it, it will change its form and move
Yeah,
out of you. I mean, that's been my experience, not all the.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely. That's,
we
yeah.
I'm just so just to the bottom line to your question, it's like we have such infinite resources inside of us that no one has told us about in school, even in workshops like EST or whatever those things were. The resources can't be taught, but they can be sought and found, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the amazing thing that I think we're coming to at this time is the realization of our infinite nature of
Mm.
consciousness, and we are consciousness, and
Amen to that.
yeah, and I think if that could be realized, then we wouldn't have to depend on politicians or
Yeah.
aliens or you know.
Anything of the sort. Yeah.
Right, right. Thank you for asking that question. It made me think. Yeah, that was a good question. I mean,
Thank you
oh,
for
yeah,
offering your wisdom. Alan, tell everyone, because I'm sure people who listen to this they're probably going to want to check out a class. Can you tell everyone, where to find you, where to check out your classes?
right,
Obviously, Alan has a YouTube channel. He's been, front and center as far as all things consciousness, disclosure, metaphysical for a long time now.
right.
You are a living legend, my friend. So
Am I?
but you
What?
are actually. I mean, in the consciousness community, absolutely, you're iconic. You
Really?
are.
Okay. I mean, I'm just doing my. I mean, it's nice that you say that, and I've heard other, but I'm just doing my thing. It's nice that
Yeah,
people are paying attention to. I mean, I don't know. I'm just doing it from inside
yeah.
out. Thank you for saying that. And
You're
I've been
welcome.
doing this since '93. I had a public access television show called
That's
New
right.
Realities in New
Yeah,
York City. And it was an opportunity to meet like people like Ram Dass, bring him in, sit
yeah.
down with Ram Dass. You know, I just want to tell you a quick story about Ram Dass
Please.
because I was just starting out in the interviewing, and there's this guy who that's legend, that guy, legend. So I said, wow, Ram Dass, here I am. I'm just starting out, and you've been around, you've done everything, LSD, Timothy Leary.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know really where to begin. And he says to me, stop that right now. He says, stop that
Wow.
right now. Here we are. We're doing an interview. Let's go.
Mm. That's awesome. That's
Really,
so Ram Dass. Yeah.
it was so good. It was like he just cut through all the mind
Mm.
chatter and just go, let's just do it. I mean, that
Yeah.
was the best part of the interview in a way. I mean that
Mm.
really. Um, so yeah, I've sought out truth like you're doing, like we're all trying to
Hmm.
do here. And who resonates? Who are the people that are carrying the torch into the unknown? I've
Mm.
had great teachers. Paul Lowe was a great teacher, if you know who he was. I got into channeling in the early 80s with Ramtha. Have you ever heard of
Of
Ramtha?
course. Of course, I've heard of Ramtha. Most people probably haven't. She's no longer kind of on the scene, but she was a
Right,
woman. She was the one who started the School of Enlightenment, right?
right. That was my early
Wow.
education in consciousness. That
Right.
was it. You know, early
Wow.
1980s. But it's like, and
Whatever
then
happened? Why did she stop? She just not.
well, no, she didn't just stop. I think there's still stuff going on
Oh,
up in
okay. Okay.
Washington State, but she did kind of, the teachings are there
Yeah.
and they're fantastic and they're accessible. Anyone who wants to make known the unknown.
Hmm.
I mean, that was the teachings that said, wow, there's really something to consciousness. That was like
Yeah.
an awakening for me because no one ever heard of channeling in the early 80s,
Right.
especially this woman's channeling this 35,000-year-old Atlantean warrior
Right.
who's come back, who never died, who's in the body of this woman. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
I thought when I went there for the first time, I'll check it out because friends of mine were going, she's either crazy,
Right.
was the most likely, or she's a great actor, which
Right.
was possible, or maybe, perhaps, I don't think so, but possibly it
Maybe
could
there's something to it.
Yes, maybe there's something to it.
Wow.
Exactly. So when Ramtha called on me, I'm sitting in the audience in the back. I don't think
Mm.
anyone to see me. I'm like in the back row. And Ramtha points at me. And have you ever heard the voice that comes through Jay-Z?
Oh, it's very like husky, and she's always smoking when she's
Yeah,
channeling Ramtha.
not that smoking, but it was like it's a whole other voice. And
Oh, totally. Yeah.
it's Shakespearean. It felt
Hmm.
because I was a literature major, and Ramtha calls on me and says to me, "What say you, beloved entity? How be you this day in your time?"
Wow.
I said, "What are you talking to me?" And it's like, but then I had this whole moment of shifting,
Mm.
this moment where it was like the everything started to kind of melt and get a little it was like a moment of awakening of sorts. It's
Wow.
maybe because it was so strange, or maybe, but from that moment on, I was like on the path. I wanted to
Mm.
know more. I wanted to have more of these experiences.
Yeah.
I wanted to, because one thing Ramtha said in that audience is everyone's coming to see him because they want to know what this phenomena channeling is and
Hmm.
what's happened. Ramtha says the bigger question is what's coming through you? What is
Mm.
the voice that's coming out of your mouth? Where's that source? And I
Right.
thought, well, I thought that was a good point. Who are we? And where is so when you ask like who we are, it's like we're infinite. There's no answer. Because
Mm.
if we answer, then you're creating an identity. It puts a
It's
limit.
already limiting. Yeah.
Exactly. So the I am that I am is one way that has been the universal answer, but
Hmm.
it's even beyond words, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I've discovered. And it's nice to kind of sit around with you and other
Yeah.
podcasters to just philosophize. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I think
Yeah.
going to sacred sites makes a difference. Going to
Definitely.
Egypt, going to Sedona, going to places that hold energy,
Yeah. Hmm.
or seeing fantastic teachers. I don't know who I would
I
recommend
agree. I
now.
agree. No, 'cause they can have quite the effect, as far as giving people a different perspective that
Mhm.
perhaps they then decide to tune into and continue to tune into, like what happened with you and Ramtha.
Yeah, I
It's an
wasn't
amazing
expecting it
thing.
though. I
Yeah.
mean, or,
But
or with Chris Bledsoe, you hang around with Chris Bledsoe. That guy has Shakti, he has energy.
yeah,
I I felt I had a teleportation experience after hanging
wow.
out. I don't
I
know.
gotta meet him.
You got to meet him. Come to Sedona.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Absolutely.
Where are you again? In LA?
No, I'm in Georgia now.
Oh, you're in Georgia.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I that's probably a
But
nice place to live, isn't it?
oh yeah, it's nice. Absolutely. I was in Manhattan for 20 years and I moved out here. Um,
Okay.
but Alan, tell everyone where they can find your classes, where they can, they can check out your YouTube channel. Give them all the information.
All right. I don't have any. I think I'll probably have a class in the spring. I
Okay.
just did like I did like 15 weeks with
Oh
the
wow.
Fifth Network. I did a beginner's course for 7 weeks, and then it was 13 weeks, and then I did intensive course with a
Wow.
smaller group for 6 weeks, where we just went really, really deep into and I learned every time I teach a class. I learn. So anyway, I probably in the spring I'll be. Oh, I'm teaching. I actually doing a live, um, live. I mean, retreat where people come and stay in Sedona, March 30th to April 2nd. Go to my website,
Oh, cool.
newrealities.com. It's calling Seeing Beyond Sedona. I'm doing with this woman, Kelly Fisher, who's a amazing trance medium. I mean, she's a medium. She
Hmm.
psychic medium. She could see people on the other side. And she was learning remote viewing, but she was teaching me kind of how to tap into those. It's the
Nice.
same kind of, it's all
Yeah,
right brain.
it
It's
is.
all that, so like once that window's open, you can do all these things.
Hmm.
So you can find me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/new realities. I do have a couple of thousand interviews there with some of the
Yes, you do.
people I really like. You can look for my book on Amazon,
That's
Making
right.
Contact, which is an overview of the phenomena because I went and it's a compilation of the
Yes.
10 best people that I really respect in the field who devoted their life to the UFO phenomenon. People like
Hmm.
Linda Moulton Howe, Grant Cameron, Whitley Strieber. I even got a previously unpublished essay by John Mack. I
Wow.
went to his archivist and I said, "Well, this has never been in print. Can
Mm.
I put it in my book?" And I thought I would have to pay a lot of money. He goes, "Yeah." He asked the family because the family owns the rights, and they said, "Sure." And it was just like, what an honor
Yeah.
to have an essay by John Mack for the first time. And
So
he's written
cool.
a lot of stuff, but like that was like so. Anyway, that book, Making Contact, gives an overview of the phenomenon. I'm writing another book about the
Nice.
phenomenon, and
Awesome.
let's see, my YouTube, my podcast on BBS Radio. Oh, and then the appearances. I'm doing the Conscious Life Expo. You're going to be
Right.
there,
I'll
right?
see you there. Yeah.
And then I'm doing that's in February, February
Hmm.
20th, Conscious Life Expo. In March, I'm doing the Sedona Ascension Retreats
Okay.
in Sedona. That's March 20th to 22nd. In April, I'm doing the New Living Expo in Northern California, Marin County Center. That's April 17th to the
Oh,
19th.
cool. Okay.
I think I'm part of Contact in the Desert in
I'm sure
May.
you are. Yeah.
I'm doing something in Alamogordo in August. Last year, I hosted the MUFON conference in
Oh,
San
wow.
It was fun. In late August, I think I'm going to go to Glastonbury and
Nice.
um, do the Portal to Ascension retreat there in
Oh, cool.
Glastonbury. But yeah, all this. It's just it's fun. It's like being
Yeah.
a traveling sort of.
Oh, it's fantastic. I know you love it. I see how great of a time you're having whenever I see you at these events, and I'm
Yeah,
going to see you in February.
it's like I like what Mark Twain said. It's nice to travel, but it's better to have traveled. I mean,
Yeah.
and it gets a little tiring, but I
Yeah.
do like it. But I do like places like Sedona, but I do like
Hmm.
being in my own little um, place in New York City too, where
Yes.
all my books and art and writing, and it's just like it's my retreat from
Yeah.
being on the road, and it's like it kind of gives me some energy here too.
That's awesome to hear. And I'll see you in February
Yeah,
and,
very well.
hopefully again after that. And, thank you again so much for your time. It's wonderful. This conversation has been amazing. For everyone listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, drop me 5 stars and please share this podcast. We're trying to grow our following. And also, I have a Patreon page if you want to support my work. We have a wonderful community we're building there. Some really
Oh,
cool tiers, and we do some fun things with my logo. If you want to get one of the tiers, you can get some customized merch. And with that being said, Alan, thank you again, brother. I look forward to seeing you and shaking your hand in February in California, and appreciate your time very much. I know how busy you are.
no, I appreciate your time. Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank you,
you.
my friend. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
You take care. We'll talk again soon.
definitely. Yeah, I want to hear about doing a Patreon. Actually, maybe we'll talk.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
give you the rundown. Okay,
great,
brother.
great, great. Thanks, Faust. Good to
Thanks,
talk.
Alan. Appreciate it.
Bye.